I made a script writing guide that basically broke ChatGPT. Now, before we continue with this video, if you're a beginner, please fuck off. If you've never uploaded a video to YouTube before, this video is not for you. Okay, this is a pretty advanced guide only for those who are already writing their scripts or they want to improve their current writing. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so I know exactly what you're struggling with. Okay, you upload a video, it's a 1 out of 10, and then it has amazing CTR, but then suddenly it flatlines, it just flatlines. Okay, stops getting views. So 9 out of 10 times when this happens, it's usually because your viewers are not sticking out long enough. Okay, they're not watching your videos. That's pretty much it. Your average view duration is low, and it automatically sends a signal to the algorithm that hey, people are not sticking around long enough. Okay, so that's why the algorithm stops giving you impressions. So now I want to fix this as soon as possible. Okay, in this guide, by the way, you're gonna learn a framework that's gonna take your retention graph to an insane level. Okay, so what I'm gonna give you right now is exact sauce, so you can just fix those tiny problems that are holding your videos back from blowing up. Um, everyone talks about the need for a good hook, a good structure, or a payoff. But no one tells you exactly how to do it. So this is how I do it. And by the way, if you think I'm speaking too fast, just slow the video down. Just slow down the the playback speed, because I'm not gonna slow down for you. And apologies for the shit camera quality. Just want to get this over with anyway. So this is the hook. Okay, everyone talks about the hook, but no one actually breaks it down what a hook means. Your hook needs to achieve these two things. It has to confirm expectations, it has to be a gateway to the body. So once your video starts, you've got exactly 3 seconds. That's three seconds before the viewer decides if they want to keep watching or they want to click off. Okay, so usually people click off within the first 30 seconds. So okay, so you really need to be selective what you write here. So it's a very simple rule. You need to make sure that the very first line of your script contains the reference to the packaging. Now, what's packaging? If you don't know, I don't know why you're here. But again, if you don't know what packaging is basically title and thumbnail of a video. Um, and if it's not obvious by now, you should always have the final packaging of the video ready even before your script is written. Okay, that's like YouTube 101 again. Um, describing the deciding the packaging of the video after your video is done is basically like a shit way to do a video. So the very first line of the hook must confirm the title or thumbnail to validate the click. How do you do that? Okay, this is an example. So, for example, this is the title: How Emmanuel Lasker became the most ignored chess pro ever. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. I don't know shit about this guy. But first ever world chess champion, right? So we owe him a big apology. Why? Because we fucking ignored him. If that makes sense, okay? The very first line has to be about the packaging. It's pretty simple. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. So this is how you basically make sure that your transition from the hook to the actual body is smooth. Okay. Uh, you need to add a sub hook basically. Once they're hooked on the video. Now you want to wake them up. Okay. So there are a few ways you can ask a question. Maybe like, hey, although almost considered to be a wholesome personality, what's one dark secret of Steve Harvey? This is curiosity. You just fucking introduce curiosity. Okay. Now they have a reason to keep watching. If you give everything away in the beginning, they're not gonna watch. If you don't promise to give anything in the video, they're not gonna watch either. So avoid doing that. Avoid giving away everything in the beginning, and also avoid not telling them what they're gonna be getting in the video. Okay. So if you click the video, there's another example by the way on how you could create a sub hook. If you click the video, there's a good chance you know who this guy is. The Hollywood's comeback, blah blah blah. We just fucking yeah, we just sort of annihilated this guy just for some AdSense money. But again, so now the body starts confrontation. This was after the hook. So now it's your chance to introduce tension. Why do you need tension? Because once you introduce tension, it leaves some room for for conflict resolution. Okay, what's that? We discuss later. Okay. So example, but let's not pretend everything was fine while he got two Emmy nominations. So this is the part where like it gets very tense. It gets very like emotional for the viewer. Okay, and it's basically like I don't really like writing this part, but yeah, you get my point. Okay, you could cover controversies, key events of the story of, let's say if you're talking about a player, if you're talking about a celebrity, right? Um, This is the part basically where you talk shit about your subject. If that makes sense. Okay. So now Act 3, conflict resolution. By the way, ignore this. This is for my own script writers. So this is not for you. This is in this like yeah, don't have context basically. So this is for my own writers because they're working on my chance. Okay. Uh Now Act 3 is basically conflict resolution and there's climax. Let me check if I'm fucking recording. I swear to God, if I'm not recording, I'm recording. Good. Okay. If you've done everything correctly so far, the audience all tensed up and glued to their screens. It's time to blah blah. Final resolution. So this is the whole structure. Conflict at peak, and now you need a specific part that actually acts as a switch up. That switch up basically gives you the transition to go from the peak conflict to actually the beginning of the resolution. Okay. By the way, this is also complex for you. Again, stop watching the video. This video is not for you. Okay. All right. So once that's done, now we move on to the conflict and the final CTA. Now, CTA totally depends on you. I'm not gonna give you examples. You will find an example of CTA here if I have already given it. But again, it totally depends on you how you want to do CTA. But when it comes to the conclusion, pretty basic. Nothing too genius here. Okay. Uh, so these are the key elements of your script. Demographic awareness. If you don't know who the fuck you're writing for, you're not gonna write a good script. Tone. You need to know. You need to know who your audience is. If they're Gen Z, maybe you want to use a casual tone. If they're older gentlemen like me, you need to use a more mature tone. You need to use better, like you need to better articulate your sentences. You cannot have fucking pop culture references. You cannot say um oil up Diddy, right? You can't do that with them. All right, so let's go to the emotion again. It all comes under fucking demographic awareness, emotion. Now, if you know what emotional state your viewers are usually in, it's basically game over. So it could be different emotions viewers click your video for. It could be curiosity, it could be anger, it could be nostalgia, right? It could be wholesomeness. You need to figure out why they clicked your video and then choose your words wisely. Now, continuity is a really big thing I've never seen anyone talk about. Keep it super smooth. This is an example. What I mean by continuity is, let's say if you're writing a script, right? A general rule of thumb that I follow is if you take a random paragraph out of your script out of context and if you try to read it, and if that paragraph makes sense on its own, then it's not a good script because it did not follow the rule of continuity. The rule of continuity tells you that each and every paragraph has to make sense only when you have read the paragraph prior to it. And the reason that why that happens is because if those paragraphs are so well connected, only then they're gonna make sense. Okay, I hope I'm making sense here. So this is an example of a good continuation. You can read it in your own time. I'm not gonna fucking narrate it for you. Additional points. Okay, ignore these because I wrote from my own writers. Bad example. As his career progressed into the 1970s, blah blah blah. So see, if you just take this last paragraph out, it completely makes sense on it. So it just looks like a piece of information from an article. Similar for the first one. Okay. But if you actually go ahead and use the second one, his actions show a different side of him. Who the fuck are we talking about? Whose actions? Like, did not make sense. Or in case you're wondering, his terrible mistake. Hold up. In case you're wondering, his terrible mistakes. I'm not wondering about anything. Like, whose mistakes are we talking about? See, now we're talking. Now these paragraphs don't make sense on their own. You need to make sure that continuity is your prime focus. I hope this video was helpful. We're gonna find this guide in my Discord server. You'll actually no, I'm not gonna give it to my Discord server. You need to join my WAP and pay me so you could get access to this guide. Or you could just follow me on Twitter and I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah, just DM me on Twitter and I'm gonna send the guide to you. Okay, bye.